trade deadline has come and gone. Not a lot of action, but we're going to talk about it. I'm Chad Chaz. That's 5. Let's get into it. Pause.
First took away. Yes, with this. Get your money's worth now.
Well, shout out to Scott Vicknair Injury Lawyers. They always fight for the win. You can call them now at 504-500-1111 for free. Yes, free consultation. Shout out to them. 5, how you doing, brother?
I'm straight, Chaz, man. How you feeling?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing okay. Shout out to everybody as you join in the stream. Please make sure y'all hit the like button. Shout out to Corey. Shout out to Randy Brown. Be Supreme. We got a new member. Shout out to him. Mild Kevin, our dog Popacino was at. I'm sorry you didn't get RJ Barry Popacino. I know you wanted RJ. Shout out to Huggy Bear 504, Dr. Donald, BG2. Shout out to everybody in here, man. Make sure everybody hit that like button, hit that join button as you join the stream. So 5, today was pretty uneventful on the Pelicans front. We had some movement, but it's like wasn't no superstars moving how it was looking, because you had Kevin Durant on the block. You had, of course, we know Jimmy Butler went to the Warriors. You had, who else was on the block? Cam Johnson stayed.
Which was wild.
That's weird. I don't know what the Nets doing. Like, I guess they didn't have to move him because the contract was so good.
Yeah.
But now you got to extend Cam Thomas. You got Claxton. And you got Cam Johnson. It's like, is you just gonna run with this roster for a little bit? Like, I don't know what they got going on, man.
It was kind of weird, bro, because it seemed like, just speaking for the Nets, right? Like, or just thinking about them, you have a lot of assets. This was the time to get off. Whoa, what up with it, bro?
What's up, fellas? Hey, guys.
Not much, but the Nets, man, it was a perfect time to get off the assets, like to get a good return on it, right? Like this would have been like Cam Johnson, a 3-point shooter, would have been perfect almost for the playoff atmosphere, can knock down some shot, give you some space needed. This is the player most teams wanted to go after. Was their asking prices too high? Like, I don't know.
I think the Luka deal ruined the market, honestly.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think if you look around, like, yeah, AD is definitely a hell of a player, but that's kind of, if you wanted to compare the Luka deal to the Brandon Ingram deal, it kind of stops at AD. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it kind of stops there because they didn't get multiple picks. I feel like the best deal of the weekend was Charlotte. I said the weekend. The best deal of the week was Charlotte getting multiple firsts. Well, one first in a swap for Mark Williams. That might have been the best deal.
And Dalton Connect.
Dalton Connect.
That's a steal. That was a huge.
So that's at least 2 firsts.
Yeah.
DeAndre Hunter went for seconds to Cleveland, and
I thought that
Yang
was a
is
deal.
Yeah. I was surprised they didn't get Cam, because if you Cleveland, you got to feel like this is your year. Like, it's now or never.
From what I read, the Nets must have had an asking price that was like borderline unreasonable.
Had to be multiple first.
Yeah, because I mean, you'd have thought some of the deals that got done would have been close, right? Like the DeAndre Hunter, they must have wanted multiple firsts. I mean, that's the only thing I can think, or at least a first and like a swap, or maybe 2 swaps or something, because that it's just senseless for them to keep him. I think some teams just try to dig their heels in and get stuck.
Yeah. What do you think they do with Cam Thomas?
I don't know, because they hadn't got the extension done, right?
Nah, and the thing is, he's hurt right now. So these guys are crazy. How do you want an extension and like, so you going into the offseason hurt off a back-to-back hamstring injuries, and you're a restricted free agent. So as an undersized 2, what do you think?
That buys himself off the lift in the shot. Like, your hamstring, it almost feels like James, right? Like, not like Harden, right? Like, remember when he got that hamstring injury?
Yeah.
Like, he didn't have the same explosive, like, relying so much on his lower body extremities to, generate power. Yeah. And then you have this injury. Like, you're in no position to ask for money. Like, I don't know.
Then it happened back to back. It's like he came back for a little while and went right back out. But hey, story of the Pelicans.
And a guy like that, where it gets real tricky, right? He can clearly score, but he's never done it in any kind of capacity that has led to winning.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and I'm not. It's hard to blame him totally for that, right? Because the Nets have been in a position that is. I mean, this year obviously they weren't really trying to win games, although I think last year they were. He's one of those players that, at least from afar, it seems like the more you score, the more your team loses. And to me, that, again, I'm not totally blaming him, but how much of that is going to carry over to winning, right? Like, because I haven't seen it.
It makes sense what you're saying. Go ahead, Fire. What you about to say?
It almost reminds me of like a lesser degree Jordan Poole, right? Early on, surrounded by elite players, and you learn from these guys, and you can perform. You're looking at your boy in New Jersey, in the Nets, like Cam Thomas. He was around Harden, KD, Kyrie, like he's learned from the best. But almost you have this stigma, like, okay, you can score. They said you can score, but does it actually generate wins? And if someone's like looking at it like, okay, well, I'm looking at Washington, they can't win like that. So why would I invest all this money into you and be in the same predicament as them?
Ironically, even when you look at Brandon, I think it was last season, it was like when Brandon takes 20 or more shot attempts, like the Pelicans have a losing record. And it's like, all right, so we know you can't take too many shots because it's translating to something different. Well, no, Brandon had a pretty heartfelt farewell, and one thing needs to stop, bro. One thing needs to stop because it's so pathetic. Such and such thanked this before Anthony Davis thanked New Orleans. Won't you just accept Anthony Davis don't fuck with you? Like, why you can't just accept that? He just might not fuck with you like that. He might have just been like, well, this was a business relationship and the relationship severed. Let's move on. Like, I like, what are you doing here? Like, so what did you guys make of Brandon Ingram's farewell speech, or I guess you could call it that?
You probably can tell, like, I'm saying like emotional, but like he had some connection to the city at some point. Maybe we don't know the depths in which his connection lied, but he had some connection with it. I mean, to reference Soldier Slim or anything like that, you got to have a little knowledge of it, right? I just wish it would have turned out differently, to be honest. I wish there was something that happened along the lines. I think Brandon had a ton of potential, right? Like early on, I thought maybe, just maybe, he could turn himself into somebody that, Pelicans fans, and probably in his eyes, he could have turned into somebody that would have been a pillar of this community, or just a pillar of this organization long term. It just didn't work out that way. We'll always go back to wishing or thinking about what if this would have worked, what Brandon could have done differently. I'm pretty sure he'll even say, I wish I would have done something differently when I was in New Orleans.
You think he'll say that at some point?
Himself.
Like, you actually, all right.
To himself, for sure.
Ross, what did you think? I'm curious what you think. I'll give my thoughts after you.
I don't know, man. I don't put a lot of stock in stuff like in these thank yous and everything. And look, I don't look. The guy lived here for what, 6-7 years, right? Like I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he purchased a home. I think on the North Shore here. Yeah, like you put down roots somewhere if you're there for that long. I know we were critical of him, but I don't find it hard to believe that he enjoyed living here or something. Like, like it just didn't work out, right? But I don't feel some like deep meaning behind these like goodbyes or whatever. I think he could live somewhere else the same as he could live here, right? Like it wasn't working here. I think a change of scenery is going to be certainly good for the Pelicans. I think there's a chance it has a positive impact on Brandon too. Like he the same as we've talked about with Zion. Like, I think he needs new leadership. He needs a new voice. He needs someone to push him. So I don't know, man. I don't feel I don't feel any way about it. I really don't. To me, it's meaningless. It's just what players do at this point. They make these like goodbye posts. I believe he had friends here. I believe he was friends with players on the team.
Right.
I believe he had a good relationship with a lot of people, and that's awesome. Like, that's good. This is just the business that these guys play in. And that's it for me. I don't really have a lot more like thought behind it.
Yo, we got 111 people in the chat. I'm gonna play this clip of Brandon Ingram from his media day a couple of years ago before I give my thoughts. And by the end of this clip, can we please be at 100 likes? Can we get the likes up, please? But I appreciate everybody in the room. Shout out to all y'all.
You're looking at that contract extension eligible this summer, putting it off for next summer. Just sharing the thought process, how y'all made a decision, you and the front office.
Yeah, well, you know, they paying a lot of people big money. Trying to get some big money. But I've been committed to New Orleans. I love my teammates. I love the coaches and everybody around here. I got a good feel for New Orleans, and I thought it was decisions I should make at a later basis, but I'm happy where I am.
Look, I remember me and David Grove seeing the same thing. I did a show immediately after that, right? And I was like, oh, okay. So look, I take player goodbyes and all that stuff with a grain of salt, right? And mainly because, shout out to Devin Landry. He said he's a Raptors fan here, just learn a little bit more about BI. Appreciate you, Devin. Hit the like button, brother. You definitely gonna learn something today. So I feel like, man, that's bullshit. Get out of here. Because if it was like that, you don't be playing no motherfucking basketball. The team offered you at minimum 3-4 different contracts, 50 million, 40 million, whatever, 45 from sure, something along those lines several times. This team put little to no expectations on you. Spoke glowingly about you, just glowingly at every turn. Like, shout out to Scott Kushner for the Advocate. He used to cover the Pelicans extensively. And like, on the real, anyone you talk, if Brandon Ingram was brought up in front of David Griffin had nothing but positive things to say most of the time. Things changed as it got like later, but he had positive things to say most of the time. Truthfully, I feel like, New Orleans is a great city. It's my hometown. It's my home. But I think you love New Orleans because, you could get away with murder. It was zero expectations, right? It ain't like a Chris Paul thing where you went through all these battles and like Katrina happened and all. It's just like, no, it's been 6 years of mediocrity at best. Not just him, the entire team. Just 6 years of failure from a executive level to a player level to just organizationally, just 6 years of failure from an ownership level, right? Even we're going to, like, this season, and we'll talk about this more on the membership show. Be sure to join the membership, the member, and y'all can hear, when we talk about that, y'all get some of these real stories. But on the real, it's like, bro, you got injured December 7th. I don't know Brandon's like physical. I don't know what he can do. But I know you looked healthy at least about a month ago, right? It's February 6th now. The team, David Griffin included, your homie, who vouched for you, put his name on the line for you, wouldn't trade you for the number 2 pick in last year's draft, said, I expect Brandon Ingram to be back before the trade deadline. Clutch agency, LeBron homeboy, same dude that traded Brandon Ingram from the Lakers, asked the Pelicans, yo, what's up with Brandon? Why Brandon not playing? What is he doing? And they like, I don't know. Ask Brandon. He tripping, he went rogue. So at the end of the day, Brandon gave the team the middle finger on his way out. Definitely gave the team the middle finger on his way out. All the other shit, that's like, yeah, that's cool. All the pleasantries. He's being a gentleman about the situation. That's cool. But at the same time, it's like, if we gonna keep it a cool dollar, bro, the reason the return for Brandon Ingram was so bad, because a lot of the times Brandon refused to play when he could have played. And this was another time in this instance. Like Scoop B a few days ago said Brandon would be 2 to 3 weeks out. No, people don't think that hurt his trade stock. like people don't think other teams who could have been in the conversation, was it turned off or put off by that? Like, come on, man. Like, shout out to Ted Moss. You say, is there any organization ran worse than the Pelicans? The Mavericks. The Mavericks. And that just happened earlier.
The Kings are not real strong.
The Kings are pretty they still, they're consistent. They're consistently bad. And the Suns getting there too. You about to say something, Five?
Nah, man. If you were to try to, put this in a percentage, right, of who's at fault more, I think it's really 50-50 David Griffin, Brandon Ingram. Like they go together. And there's no one else. It's just them two in this boat. It was kill or be killed, and they both killed each other.
Totally embarrassing.
Totally embarrassing. It was nothing else that could be done because they both botched it equally bad. It was just terrible on all sides. They were playing tug of war and had each other on each side. It was the worst thing that you could actually do. They had no plan and no operation. Like, again, Brandon was offered $200+ million probably multiple times and said no. That's probably why he fired his agency.
That's crazy.
The fact that Griff actually offered him that is sinister to me, right? It's all bad on all fronts. To be honest, Pelicans fans, probably the Pelicans organization, we've all probably dodged a larger bullet than we think we did.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Would you about to say, Ross?
No, it like now that you see, like, where you've reached the end of the road, right? And I saw some of the comments last night to Justin after he made his comments on social media, and it's like your favorite player just got traded for Kelly Olynyk and Bruce Brown, and no disrespect to Kelly Olynyk and Bruce Brown.
No disrespect. Fine
NBA players, man. Like I would say even good role players in the NBA. Both have had long career. No disrespect. Your king just got traded for Bruce Brown and Kelly Olynyk. Just stop. You stop. It's time to stop with this nonsense. This man turned down $200 million
multiple times,
and then turned it down again. And from that point on, he castrated his own value over and over and over again over about a 2.5-year point by not playing, not being tough enough to play, not delivering wins when they were needed, not being available, not changing his style of basketball to meet what the team needed. Like it's over, man. I got no ill will toward this human being. I hope things go great in Toronto. I hope he rehabs his value and makes a bunch of money. That good. I don't care. I feel nothing. Whatever happens, happens. But just stop. Brandon Stans, just stop. Like, Bruce Brown and Kelly Olynyk, that equal, it's a math equation at this point. You just saw the math equation. Bruce Brown plus Kelly Olynyk equals Brandon. And that was the culmination of 8 months of trying to trade him. Just stop, people.
To Ross's
nonsense.
Hold on, Chad. But to Ross's point, that's not because Griff is terrible, right? But that's on Brandon. That's the value Brandon had around the league. Like, they couldn't find anything better. Not because Brandon wanted to go to Toronto. No, there was nothing else. There was nothing no other trade offer.
This was the best. That's what I don't think some of these folks are this was the best that you could get. Thank God they got a first-round pick. I mean, how they pulled that off. Because you have no leverage.
None.
The Raptors bid against themselves, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I totally agree with both of y'all. It was a thing where you got to just be able to see the move before the move, and it's totally. I think there's a lot of people going to say, "Well, David Griffin made the best out of a bad situation." Or they're going to say, oh, well, this person never was realistically available. It's going to be a lot of carrying water for the organization because David Griffin is he's their source. But truthfully, it's like, bro, this he failed. He failed on a lot of levels because, and we're gonna get into this more. Bruce Brown is a pending unrestricted free agent. They didn't flip Bruce Brown for multiple seconds. They didn't increase, their war chest with these assets. They got a couple people who probably, if you're talking about trade assets, could be viewed as neutral to negative assets, particularly Kelly Olynyk. There's not a lot of teams who probably want to keep Kelly Olynyk on the books for $13 million next year, this upcoming offseason. It's to me, it was something that you didn't necessarily need a ton of data on. I forget what the number was of games they played, but to me, with that number of games, I'm like, well, I saw everything I needed to see. Like, everybody in the NBA world was saying, yo, it's time to pivot. It's time to move away. It's not an indictment on Brandon, a human being. And I'm going to keep it real with y'all. I think I said this a lot of times. I don't care what kind of human being nobody is. This is a reciprocal transactional relationship, right? I pay my money to go to a game. I expect to be entertained. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you click on this show and we just hear talk about fucking penguins or something stupid, you're going to be upset. So this is transactional. I don't care if he was a nice guy. I don't care if he wanted to be here. Everybody wanted to be somewhere when you getting fucking hundreds of $1 million. I'll go work on an Alaskan oil rig, right? I don't give a fuck how much you paying an hour. I'm out there. I'm in the lab. I'm there. I'm there. Like, it doesn't matter. None of this shit is matter. None of this shit matters to people. So I think what you wanted it to be, what we all wanted it to be, realistically, just wasn't going to come to fruition. And it's okay to accept that. Brandon's going into year 10. Like, Brandon's going into year 10 next year. I don't know if he's going to grow 4 inches taller. I don't know if he going to just, I don't know what people expect to happen. I hope he has a flourishing, incredible career and he gets his money. It's just a shame that things couldn't work out here and they didn't pivot fast enough to be able to salvage, the war chest that in the opportunity cost that you lost. Shout out to ZN25, new member. I appreciate you, bro. Y'all hit that join button, hit the like button as well. Shout out to everybody in here. Jim Selmer, appreciate you, bro. Game Osborne, David DeRelpo. I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name, but shout out to y'all. But go ahead, Five. I'm sorry, you about to say something?
Nah, man. I think dude name is Dalrymple. I think that's the street in Baton Rouge.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Appreciate that. Yeah, man. It's all David Griffin, to be honest. This is what we talk about not being able to see things before they happen, right? This is what it looks like when you get to the end, right? It's like hitting a curveball. Like, if you don't get to that motherfucker early, you don't want to wait till after it breaks. And this is what it is after it breaks. You're left with very limited opportunity to hit this baseball. Very limited after it breaks. This is what Griff is. After things happen, he's very reactionary. No planning, no sense of urgency when things are in front of him. No. He's so much of after the fact. That's why we see this team fail multiple times, because everything needs to be perfect for it to be successful, rather than, planning for the uncertainties that will, come before him. We should have never been at this point with Brandon. We should have, if you would have traded Brandon 2 years ago or a year ago, or 2 years ago for the number 2 pick, which was Brandon, what's the kid in Charlotte? Sorry.
Brandon Miller.
Brandon Miller, or you would have got Scoot. Like, yeah, people would have been upset. But right now, if you're looking at it right now, people will be a little bit more, happy about it, because you would have reset your timeline, would try to almost pivot maybe from Zion, and probably still, hopefully he'll be playing a little bit better, but you would have had another opportunity to, I guess, push this franchise a little bit more than where it is right now.
I'm sorry, Rob. I just wanted to say this real quick. Terry Marshall, I think what Terry Marshall is saying is that Paulie Shore, his career peaked really early. He got a bunch of movies right out the gate. because his mom owned the like comedy store or something in Hollywood. Don't ask me how I know this stuff. So he had a bunch of like early movies, and then he just fell off the fucking map. So maybe that's what he's saying. But go ahead, yo.
No, I was gonna say but it goes even a step further than that singular failure, right?
Right.
Because the smaller failures have not allowed you to make some of the bigger moves, right?
You mean drafting, like in the lottery?
Drafting and even free agency. Like you just failed to get rid of Javonte Green.
Yeah.
You had to attach a second to get rid of Daniel Tice.
Right.
You had to attach a bunch of seconds to get rid of Devontae Graham or whoever it was.
Yeah.
Right. Like Jordan Hawkins hasn't progressed, so there's no value in him around the league. There's all of these type of smaller things that have a broader effect.
Right.
Even if you don't like the Mark Williams deal, and I thought they gave up too much for Mark Williams, the Lakers did. But the fact is, part of that deal was that Charlotte likes Dalton Knecht.
Right.
And they wanted first round picks. No one has any value in Jordan Hawkins right now. No one has any value in Kyrie Lewis. He's not even here. No one has any value in some of these other players that you've drafted.
Jordan Hawkins literally got hurt yesterday.
I know.
Right?
And look, but the point is that so some of the things that you could have done or should have developed or could have drafted, but all of these things, they have limited you too, right? It's not just your failure in not getting rid of Brandon a year and a half ago when he had more value. It's the fact that you've compounded that with a variety of missteps and bad moves that has led you to a point now where, like we just talked about, Chaz, like it's a really tight situation going into next year.
We're going to get into that as well.
A very, very tight situation and not really a great, like a team that is going to lead to anything at this point. Going back to the bad deals at this point, look, I get it. Injuries happen, all this other stuff. The DeJounte deal's been a disaster. Like another in a long line of just bad moves.
They find themselves in such a difficult spot because, everyone knew what was about to happen with the salary cap. And you would think if you have the president of the CBA or vice president, whatever CJ's position is, in the building, you have that resource in the building, you would think that you would be able to, hey, CJ, what you think about to happen right now? Instead, you caught in the word that's being used like behind closed doors is they were shell-shocked by teams' lack of interest in Brandon, right? But let's talk a little bit about hold up. Shout out to Ted Marshall again with that 5-piece. He said, is Cooper Flagg a Bird or Magic level talent?
No.
Is that a and or is that a question? Is that a yes or no question, or is that a?
I think it's a yes or no.
Okay.
No, he's not. He's not. Come on now.
Is he a talent on par with one of the top 10 players in the history of basketball? Look, I'm gonna say no, very confidently.
No,
I get the question, but like no.
Wait, Bird got to the chip his second year. Magic won it his rookie year. Nah, dog. That's not even in the same realm.
These are transformational,
they're basketball transformational, not just franchise transformational. No, those are they lifted the NBA on their back. Nah.
I think Cooper has the potential to be a top 3 player on a very good team, but I don't think he has that level of watershed NBA talent. But then again, who knows? But I'm gonna give it a solid no, Ted.
I like it.
Appreciate it, Ted.
It's a good question. It's a fair question. I mean, I appreciate the question and I appreciate the interest in Cooper Flagg.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I think he's got a super, super, super high floor, like a crazy high floor for has he turned 18 yet?
No, I think
whatever his age is, he's got a stupid high floor.
I just think we got.
We're talking about Larry Bird and Magic Johnson.
I think we got to come up with a better thing to compare people to, right? Like it's always here. Like you remember early on, people were like, Misi's gonna be Hakeem Olajuwon. I'm like, dog, that there has to be another, mid-grade option for people just to eclipse before we get to, the elite.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think I quite see that, to be Ted. But
if you get the first, because I see a comment here about Harper. If you get the first pick, are y'all both going Flagg?
I'm taking Cooper Flagg.
I'm taking Cooper Flagg without thinking twice.
I'm taking Cooper Flagg.
5, you seem like you got something else.
No. It's just I think he's like the more sure thing.
Yeah.
I really like Ace Bailey. I do. Bro scored on a referee yesterday. Like, I'm like, man, what? Yeah. Like, the talent level is, but I understand where we are. So that definitely takes precedent. Like, I know where we at. You need a lot of marketing dollars. It wouldn't hurt to have a dude like Cooper Flagg in your building.
I think too. See, if I trusted the coaching staff, if we had like, I don't know if I don't like how Wemby playing, honestly. So I don't even know if I trust what the Spurs doing right now because Pop ain't around. But if we had like an OKC type, maturation coaching staff, then I would take Ace. But I gotta take Cooper Flagg, man, just because I see so much skill there. But let's talk about a bit of the fallout from the trade yesterday. You got Bruce Brown. I think he's about $23 million, $22 million.
23 even expired.
23 even. Got him, quality role player, returning from injury. You got Kelly Olynyk, quality role player. So someone, appreciate you, Ross, 12.8. And a guy who's a lot of fans have covered it for quite some time, always beats the piss out of the Pelicans. So personally, I think they came out with this quote via Jake Fisher that they're going to keep Bruce Brown, and they view him as a piece or someone they would potentially like to carry into the next season and extend. I think they saying that because they couldn't flip him for some seconds personally, because looking at their cap situation going into the offseason, before you sign your lottery pick, you have about what? Let's include the pick. So you had $31 million, right, with Brandon on the books. So now you add, what's my man's name? You add Kelly Olynyk. Let's say that's what, 13. So now you're at 18. You add Brandon Boston's deal. Let's say that puts you at about 15, right? Hopefully you get the number 1 pick. That's about $12 to $13 million. So now you're left with roughly anywhere between $1 and $5 million, right? Depending on where your pick lands. You still don't have a starting center necessarily. You don't have a point guard, a starting point guard, starting caliber point guard. And you don't have any shooting on the roster. You got 1 second-round pick, to my knowledge. But you did get the Indiana first for the 26 draft, which is supposed to be a very good draft. So, Ross, how do you navigate this upcoming offseason as the Pelicans? How can the Pelicans get themselves out of this mess?
Luck and only luck. Okay, and I'm not saying that to be like funny or something. Luck. You desperately need a top 2 pick. It's the only way. If that pick falls to 5 or 6, it's a death sentence. I truly believe that.
I think so. A death sentence?
I think it's very close to a death sentence. I think it's almost like, okay, we need to totally reevaluate the franchise because you're not going to get that transformational type of like, okay, we can just plug Cooper Flagg in. Like he's ready to start like in the NBA. If you don't get something like that, then I think you're stuck with like a team likely Hold on. Go ahead.
1 second, Ross. I'm sorry. Will Guillory just put out a statement. Shout out to Will Guillory. So David Griffin released a statement. He didn't do a press conference.
Of course he didn't.
Released a statement. Says Brandon Ingram has been an instrumental part of our team on and off the floor. He has left an indelible mark on our program and the entire Pelicans family. We are grateful for his contributions to our organization and the New Orleans community. We wish B.I. and his family all the best as they continue their NBA journey. No press conference. You just traded someone you deemed as the leader of your organization this past 6 years, and there's no press conference. None.
I think after his what I would consider to be almost arrogant comments over the past few years and his smugness about what the franchise was or could be or was going to do, the we'll figure it out, this isn't going to be an offseason. After all of that nonsense, for this season to be the unmitigated fucking disaster that it's been, pardon my language, for him from the DeJounte, from media day until now, to not get in front of a microphone, for a guy who loves to hear himself speak, loves to see himself on camera, for him not to speak, I think he's chicken shit. I think he's whatever sliver of respect I had for the man is gone, and there wasn't much respect there. I think he's a joke, and I almost got kicked out of a stadium for calling somebody a joke, and I think this man's a damn joke.
We definitely spoke about the Ross game, but I stopped your wisdom. What were you saying for us going into this offseason as far as they need luck? They need clearly they need some more indelible people in the office. And
you really can't make this stuff up. It is absolutely appalling, shameful, and frightening.
That's such a perfect clip, man. No, look, they need the luck, Chaz, because I don't look. I hear you on the Bruce Brown sign and trade thing. I just players like that traditionally don't get signed and traded, right?
Yeah,
like,
facts.
His contract as a he's 27, about to be 28. Like as a guy at his age, role player, he's made his money. He got his one slice of the apple. He's going to find a place to win.
Now,
right?
now there is one thing though, Ross. There is one thing. You can now trade players into teams mid-level inception slots. So that is something new that you may be able to do, but I agree with you. I think once he enters free agency, he's probably gone.
And he's going to owe us. He's going to owe this team nothing. Like this isn't a –
I don't even know this guy.
Yeah, maybe you could have convinced me of that if Brandon had hung around or something. Like, he's been, whatever. The Bruce Browns of the world are just finding the best situation for them, and that's where he's going. So the point I'm trying to make is, and we just did, is that you're going to end up in the same very tight salary cap situation, whether you get the first pick or the fifth pick. But the difference in those players is just so drastic.
Yeah.
Right? In terms of what you can expect from a developmental perspective, from everything, right? So then you're going to go back to the same conversation we've been having. Are they going to trade CJ? Sure as hell doesn't seem like it. Do they have the guts to trade Herb? I don't think they do. Like, so then what, right? Like, so then you're stuck again. And it's why it's so frustrating. And it's why I think Griff should just absolutely be relieved of his duties. Is the same thing, Five. You've said this, is that you just traded for Bruce Brown and Kelly. And I get it. You took maybe the best deal you could take, but you had no plan, because there clearly should have been step one. If you're going to do that deal, you got Olynyk and Bruce Brown. Step two had to have already been prepared, which was that you were going to trade Bruce Brown for a couple seconds or whatever you could get. You were going to reroute Olynyk with something else. And this is the failure. And it's why I have no faith in these people, because there is no step two. It's just always flying by the seat of their pants.
I'm sorry, Five. Let me ask you this. Firstly, do you think David Griffin is the one making the decisions this upcoming offseason, and how do you fix it if you're David Griffin or whoever's going to be making those decisions?
I think it is him. And I don't know how you fix it, to be honest, Chaz. Like, you're just really hoping and praying that you land a top pick. And if you're Griffin Company, you better be doing research on every possible alternative or possible draftee you can. You better find the diamond in the rough. You better do more research on Ace Bailey. Say if you're the third pick, you need to know everything about everyone involved.
Right.
Because You know what? We talked about DEFCON 5 in reference to firing Willie Green, but this is DEFCON 5. Like, all alarms should be blaring at this point. There should be no stone unturned. You got to get this right. If you don't, I mean, I would say you should be fired already, but damn, I don't know what else needs to happen for somebody to get fired, but shit.
Ross, you think Griff is the one making these calls in the offseason? No, let me rephrase the question. Do you think Griff has like power of attorney in the offseason? Whereas it's like whatever you say, go, Griff. Or
no.
do you?
No.
Or do you?
I don't think he had that right now.
And that's kind of where I'm at with it. I feel like the team is like, whether it be Dennis Lauscher or Greg or whoever, you know,
he lost that.
I feel like they're kind of like, you ain't gonna do nothing that's gonna permanently affect us. Like,
no, I think he lost. I think he certainly lost that power. I do think he probably survives. But I'm not. I wouldn't make a gamble on it. I think that I'm telling you. I think if that pick ends up being like 6 or something,
he's gone.
I think all bets are off. Because I truly believe they're going to look at that as like a truly cataclysmic, like, oh shit moment.
Yeah, they're sitting at second right now behind.
They've got lucky. They got lucky. The Wizards have won like 2 out of their last 3 or something.
Yeah, Utah's won.
I think Charlotte has won a couple. Like, they're getting very lucky. They have dropped back to a tie for that second pick.
Mm-hmm.
It could go great. If they end up with the first pick, even the second pick, it changes everything. I think you end up with the 4th or 5th. I think it also changes everything.
Would you about to say something about?
Nah, man, it's all luck. But sometimes you got to create your own luck, and they just haven't done it at all. They don't create their own goodwill at all. And I don't mean by being good people. No, just fostering good moves, right? Doing the right thing over and over again. We talked about you, Chaz. You mentioned OKC earlier. Yeah, I would love for the Pelicans to be OKC, right? Let people know, like, this is what we're doing. These are the moves we're going to consistently make to give ourselves the best chance. Like, their coach came from their G League staff, right? Like, this is the person they fostered into the coaching ranks. All of their players. Alex Caruso was once a member of their G League team. Like, this is all because of their goodwill and continually say, like, no, we know what we want to do. We know what we want to be. And this is how we get there.
I think, too. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm about to say, I think also, I used to say that Willie Green was more so attached at the hip to Brandon versus Griff, but it's really Griff and Willie Green. So what, like, because Griff has been such an advocate for Brandon, like, behind the scenes, all the shit. Please make sure y'all join the membership show. Hit the join button, because all the shit that went on behind the scenes, all the, sacrificial lambs that happened behind Brandon and Zion and others, it's just, you have no idea. You have no idea, right? But I wanted to address 504 board, what he said, we play in the trenches. You know what was he said, shit like Draymond.
No, I do not.
It's funny because I want, like, what 504 boys said, like, we play in the trenches, that's what Brandon said, right? And with comments like that from Brandon and from, like, his fans, things of that nature, it's like, the point in me signing you or trading for you is so we don't live in the fucking trenches anymore. Eventually, like we said, it's a poverty franchise. I signed you so it wouldn't be a poverty franchise. You're the fucking help. If it stays a poverty franchise, if it stays in the trenches, that just means you're a welfare king. That just makes you a part of the problem. So that's the point here. It's like, that's not some badge of honor to, motherfucker, like, we was in the trench. It's like, no, you just sucked as a team. You just sucked as a team. It's like I always bring up the Cam. Shout out to Cam Jordan with the Cam Jordan thing. I'm a soldier, you know. A soldier bleeds anywhere. If you make me bleed, Cam, you just can't get a fucking sack anymore. That's what it boils down to. Okay, Cam. Okay, you just can't get to the fucking quarterback anymore, Cam. It's nothing more serious than that. Like, let's stop it.
To Brandon's defense, right? Just a little bit. Yeah, they were playing in the trenches, and I think that's what he meant at the end of the season, where he said when they lost their last game, you know, we got by on talent alone, right? Well, I think he realized too late that Willie Green wasn't a help to him. He was almost hindering him from moving forward, right? Like, yeah, he gave you all the freedom you could ever want. But sometimes, you know, that freedom ain't all good. You know,
it's a curse.
Yeah, you want to go to the Bible, you know what I'm saying? The prodigal son, he went out and spent all his daddy money. His dad let him come back home. You ain't got no home to go back to, bro. Like, he wasn't saving you. Willie Green wasn't saving you. You saw, you know, he had nothing to say in the press conference in OKC. He was like, nah, Brandon got to figure it out. Brandon got to figure it out in the playoff series? Wow, that's crazy. But just
like, Brandon, that's your partner.
Yeah.
He your plus one. Like, you brought him here. Shout out to Numbers Nuggets. He said, weren't Ben Simmons and Markelle Fultz taken first overall? You know what? There's been so much revisionist history with Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons was a phenomenal player about 3 years ago.
Bro.
He was phenomenal.
It's crazy.
And he just
all
fell off the cliff.
Teams.
All stars. Like, Ben Simmons was a bad motherfucker, Nuggets. Ben Simmons was cold. He fell off a cliff, no denying that, but that motherfucker was cold. I think going into this offseason, man, you gotta find some depth. You gotta find some depth. You gotta look to move CJ, hopefully to a contender. I think you got a couple mid contracts you could put together. Still got Herb. I don't know what's going on with Herb and his surgery. I'm not even sure what the timeline is on his return. You got Jordan Hawkins. You got Jose Alvarado, who's going to get a raise. He's going to be up to like $4.5 million. Go ahead, Ross. What you about to say?
No, well, I just want to. I kind of want to stop you there because I guess I want to just pose a question. You think this offseason should be focused? It's kind of a rhetorical question, but you think it should be focused more on finding depth or big game hunting? Because you now have, in theory, you're going to get a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
You just traded for a 2026 first. You already have a 2026 first. Right. You now have a Olynyk salary. You got CJ salary. You got Herb's salary. So which of those things is more important? Like, which are you focusing on?
Now, if it's me, I'm gonna be honest though. I don't see no big game being available for the Pelicans, and I think Houston has the best. Now, this is the thing though. This is the funny part. I think Houston wants a wing. I don't think Houston wants Devin Booker. I think Houston wants Kevin Durant.
I think they do too.
So if they go for Kevin Durant, that leaves Devin Booker there as an option. But it's such slim pickings this offseason because I don't really want Lowry on that contract. I don't really want Julius Randle. I think what you do, I'm gonna answer it like this, Ross. I think this is what you do. I think Phoenix Suns are fucked, right? I think in the event that Devin Booker isn't traded, in the event, right? You move CJ for some depth and some quality contracts, maybe like 2 quality contracts, right? And you go through the season. If you get to the trade deadline and something becomes available, like how Luka became available, some weird shit happens, then you go in for the kill and you go big game hunting. But what qualifies as big game hunting to y'all two? What players that you think could realistically be available? Probably need to throw realistically out the fucking. Yeah, I think Joel Embiid gonna be available. Honestly, I wouldn't trade for him, but I'm just saying.
Ross, go ahead, Jared.
Because we talked about this, bro. This takes multiple steps to do. They are equipped to do this. We're just being wishful again. We thought Brandon could get traded for
we some wishful ass motherfucker.
That's what I'm saying. No, we gotta temper our expectations. We thought Brandon could get traded for Michael Porter Jr. We are bro.
It was weird that they looked at him.
See
too.
what I'm saying? Like, no, man. I think we need to suck next year. Pause. Like,
I agree.
I think, like, if you go trade CJ, yeah, get some expendable salary, so eventually you can move off on it later. But the goal for next year is to have Zion, Trey, and this new draft pick play as much time as possible under a new coach to understand what it will look like moving forward, and then find pieces that surround them. Nothing else.
Man, I ain't gonna lie to you. I think if they bad next year, I think Zion and Trey out of here.
They're both out. Yeah, I agree. I know.
Just because I
so.
think Trey, because you don't, because I'm assuming Griffin's gone at that point. If they both trash, if the team trash next year, I think they both gone. The rookie, of course, is gonna be safe, but it's like if you trade, I've been here 5 years,
Man,
and we fucking stink. And I was disrespected the first 4 years. I was disrespected this year. And if you Zion, it's like my career probably next to being over anyway. Just y'all gonna give me a weight like at this point. But I think you lose them both, honestly, just because you should have tanked early on. Like the time to not tank, but the time to figure it out is on everyone's rookie scale contract. Like with the Spurs, if Wemby wasn't as good as he is now, they could have tanked for like the next 3-4 years. But not, since Wemby is super good now, I think you could I could put my cards in and go make something happen. But what you about to say, Ross?
Well, first off, I 100% agree. I think, and this is why we've had this conversation. I don't think like this can't be a summer of complacency because you don't have that luxury. If it is, you risk losing. Trey's averaging almost 30 since in 2025. Like you go get cute and try to do some like pseudo rebuild. We're gonna be bad for another 2. He's gone. Zion is. I think he's going to give you another year because you finally got rid of Trey and all that. But you bad again next year. I think Zion's gone too.
I forgot about DeJounte being hurt too, because it's like now you got DeJounte.
Yeah, but they don't care.
Next 3 years.
Yeah, they don't. But like Trey and Zion ain't okay. That ain't gonna have no effect.
Oh no. What I meant by that was if he on your books and he hurt and he not playing, you can't trade his ass and get even worse.
No,
like
that's
Wall.
why that's why when we were talking about Zach LaVine. It's like you really have to, I think, try to like drastically improve the roster this summer. That's why I keep saying that pick is so important because you really need cheap help now, and the only way to get cheap help is by getting the first, second pick. But I don't know, man. I got 2 names, and we've talked about Booker. I think if you can. I think this summer, I'm making my best off. That's here nor there. The only things that I will not get rid of are Zion, Trey, and if you end up with a top 2 pick, you can't get rid of that. Anything else? Hey,
for grabs.
I'm talking about years worth of picks. Take them all. I don't care. That's 1A. And I think the other one that I would have to make a call about this summer is Bam. I'm calling about Bam. I'm calling.
Bam.
I'm checking.
Bad though, Ross.
I'm checking.
Y'all trying to put a square peg in a round hole. I don't. If you're Griff, bro, you just got to start being honest. All the lines got to go out the window. I'm telling Trey, listen, you're gonna have as much freedom as you want. This is what you wish for. This is what you wanted. This is the dream you need to sell. I don't think Trey will leave. I just throw him. I try to re-up or something like that. I throw as much money like, hey, bro, you won't be able to get this. Hopefully we can get you maybe I don't know if you'll get to an all-NBA team. I don't know, maybe an all-star. We try to push that. But nah, I got to keep Trey in the building because if I keep Trey, then possibly I can keep Zion. I don't think you're going to be good next year regardless. So
I think the only way you really if you want that level of loyalty from Trey and even Zion to a certain extent, but I think Trey more than Zion, you better let Trey pick that next coach.
Yup. Yep. There you go.
You think? Do you think he has? Well, he definitely deserves to make.
He's
that
different.
decision.
He's different. He's different. Trey is different
Bro.
than Zion and them. He's got a different personality.
No, what I was about to say was,
man. If I knew how to work this thing, I'd give you the close up, Jared. But I don't know how to work all this. I see it though. I see
baby,
it,
dog.
I see it.
Bitch.
what I was about to say was like, he got to buy another one.
Kids don't never forget that shit either.
Oh yeah.
They go, first thing in the morning, hey dad, you got us a new one.
Hey,
You got that
remember,
new one. You got that new. Hey, remember last night?
Hey, say partner, you remember missing something? But what do you think if you? That's why it would be so much easier if Griff was gone, bro. Because I would like the new coach to be like, all right, look, both of y'all need to make this decision as far as like David Griffin and Trey need to. Cause I still view them as like maybe like a B plus and probably B minus. I don't think Zion's an A at all. It's impossible to say that, right? So I view them as like B plus and B minus. So I just wonder if that's something Trey even wants, right? Now he's a very mature dude, very, very forward thinking. But I wonder if he's even like, you just did this with Brandon Ingram. Like you literally just did it. As an organization, do you take your power back, or do you just say, "Here, player"?
Griff can't take any. He has no power to take back. So I think if you're going to talk about now, you're talking about wholesale changes, right?
Yeah.
Like you're talking about very, very big picture. You got to bring in a new I'm in charge guy,
right? That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
Griff can't do that anymore. I just look, man. I hope they do. I would love for them to bring in a totally new. Hell, I'd love her to bring a new owner. But assuming that doesn't happen, I don't know that they're going to make. Look at what they're going through with the Saints right now.
Yeah,
it's
significant.
They're going to hire a coach, and I know more than we can say, but it's going to get done. But the fact of the matter is, you were last. No one wanted your job.
Yeah,
no one wanted it. And so I think they're going to be gun shy about saying, "Do we really want to do this again? Like we trying to get put on Front Street again for a bad job?"
Wait, so you think, but hey, but by that line of thinking, Ross, that sounds like you think they keep Willie Green.
The only reason I think they don't keep Willie Green is because he's cheap and expendable.
Yeah,
he's cheap.
Yeah.
It's the same reason that Rizzy didn't cheap. I mean, we don't owe, this isn't a Stan
bless
or a bless you, or Gentry. Like there's a reason they didn't tell nobody what he's making, and it ain't because he's making a lot.
So let me ask you something, Five. We're gonna get this fan question soon. What do you think they do versus like? I think we all got some ideas what we want them to do. What do you think they actually do? Because I think they go big game hunting. What do you if they were to go big game hunting? Who is someone do you think that they could potentially get realistically?
What is that's the thing. Like you don't know
Who's gonna be available?
Yeah, man, because this Luka thing throws a wrench into it all. Because anybody could be available, right?
Let's just say that's the outlier.
Okay, that's the outlier. Okay.
But Jimmy Butler, people probably didn't think he was going to be. I mean, that was a thing going into the season, Ross. But there's a lot of people's names that just got mentioned that I don't know, man. I think this new second apron, I kind of think this. I think this is the new norm.
Yeah. There's one person that I've always would like to see alongside Zion, and now with Trey's emergence, it's Tyler Hero.
Tyler Hero.
I think he's gettable. I think he's gettable.
You think so?
I think he's so gettable. If you wanted to get him, I think he's gettable.
It's like the player with a lot of talent, but just hasn't been able to fail forward in a sense. right? Miami is just almost too strict. He needs a little bit more freedom to expand his game. I don't think LaMelo. I really don't. Him and Zion together could look decently fire, but
that's a scary tandem
right,
with the
right,
injuries. Yeah.
Nah. I mean, Tyler has his own bearing of injuries too, but I think those two, just his ability to create on his own, as well as shoot the ball off a catch and shoot, knows how to play. Yeah, I can see that working really well.
Man, I think shout out to Corey, man. We got 185 people at the time, 180. Let's get 150 likes here, people. We're about to get to your fan questions. So shout out to all the members in here as well. We definitely see y'all in here. Say, what about going after traders offseason? Well, if David Griffin in charge, they won't be going after Trey, Eddie. I can tell you that now. But go ahead, Ross. What you about to say?
It is so. This is why I keep saying this pick.
It's so
you're
important.
flipping a coin. If you get the first pick and it's Cooper Flagg, you are now looking at a roster that has Trey Murphy, who has emerged as a, we'll say fringe all-star, but somebody who is
quality NBA player, fringe all-star,
a very, very good NBA player. Zion and Cooper Flagg.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, you got Messi, who is developed and could be like a serviceable bit. The point I'm making is you got three guys who you got some forwards. All right.
Right.
If you get the first pick, that's why I would go big game hunting, because I'm going to try to get the best guard I can possibly get.
All right. So let me ask you this.
And anything is on the table.
Let me ask you this. The fact that anything?
Other than the three players I just mentioned, anything.
Because look, I'll say this: the fact that you said guard, though, now remember we can't trade DeJounte. DeJounte fucked up.
Why?
Because nobody gonna take him with no Achilles.
You want me to go through the list of players that Griff has attached picks to get rid of?
No, but
I don't know how much time we already been in the show too long. I don't want to take another hour.
It gotta be like Kevin Durant coming off an Achilles versus he gonna have to at least return to play because he was having a bad season before he went down. But
it would be a salary situation though.
Okay, so
where you're using his salary plus 4 future first rounders or something. I'm telling if I get Cooper Flagg,
it's possible. Yeah.
Say it with me. Anything.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask both of y'all this. Because Ross saying a guard, and I do believe that they need the guard. But I'm like, I can only think about one or two guards.
Well, say it.
I can only think about Booker being available and Trae Young being available, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now with the Pelicans, because there's also a unique wrinkle in all this, because Ron Harper has been very vocal about his son not going to Utah. So there's a situation, there's a scenario, there's a funny scenario to where you got number one and they like, yo, can we give you?
I don't know if you saw what Ron Harper said. We kind of had a tight spot though.
Yo, can we talk?
Cooper's real white.
Hey, can we? Let me can I take them off your hands for about 3 first? Like, because that they might be.
I'll listen. I'll listen to.
I'm definitely listening to that. But all right, so how do you get a Trae Young though? Because now you got if DeJounte doesn't get hurt, the picture becomes clear. 4 first. Okay, so let's say
because I don't care anymore.
I don't give a fuck about who's like
because I don't care anymore. That's what I'm telling you. If I get the first or second pick, I don't care anymore. Because if I'm sitting here and I'm saying I got Flagg or whoever, right?
Yeah, whatever.
And Zion and Trae,
you would be like the Rockets.
I don't care. Take the next 4 first round picks because if it doesn't work in the next 2 years, it don't matter anyway. You blowing the whole thing to shit and starting over anyway. So I just don't care.
But my two who I think, the people I think will be really available this offseason: Trae Young, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, DeAndre Ayton, Lauri Markkanen. Those are the 5 I think gonna be like, and I don't count Julius Randle, but Julius Randle too. That's 6. That's to say 6. Those are the 6 that I think gonna be like available. It's some tears in that motherfucker because clearly clearly the first call is gonna be for Devin Booker because spectacular insight said Jaylen Brown. I think Jaylen Brown gonna be available this offseason.
Yeah, Boston. Somebody at Boston's gonna be available. Somebody has to. Someone's gonna be available.
And if they got it now,
nobody wants Drew Holiday.
I wouldn't be shocked if they zig or everybody else is zagging and they say, take Tatum. I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked. But I think it's gonna be Jaylen Brown.
The way they structured that Derek White contract to be traded.
Derek White. Okay.
I thought about Boston a little bit,
just
from this standpoint. Say the Pelicans end up with the first pick.
They're
going to call about Cooper Flagg.
Right.
They really want Cooper Flagg in Boston.
Right.
Same situation like Luke. I'm asking for Jason Tatum.
Yeah,
like,
I'm
not.
Tatum.
I'm not even going down the list.
Yeah.
Like, is he the Jason? Like, we're starting there.
Yeah.
I gotta take that contract.
Right.
And I need picks.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like,
because to your point, people still view Jason Tatum as an underachiever.
Yeah.
Which is weird to me, but I guess I get it because you see like his personality isn't like, big. He ain't like a superstar personality.
He has multiple things going against him. Multiple.
Yeah.
He's one a product of his environment and being like it's a really well-ran organization.
Right.
So like, no, we made you. You didn't make us.
Right. You came into a great team already. Like
I was telling you, my pops was here. We were watching the game last night. And he watches a decent amount of NBA, but not like I wouldn't call him like an NBA guru or something. And we were sitting here, and he was like, he asked me what I thought about the Celtics. We talked for a second. He was like, comes to the end of the game, I'm giving the ball to Jaylen Brown. And I'm not thinking twice. I ain't even thinking about twice about it.
I ain't gonna lie.
If
you watch that game where they beat us, Jaylen Brown scored the first like major bucket, and then Tatum iced it. But yeah,
I think Five's right. I think the public perception of Tatum is not what the maybe not what he thinks.
Yeah,
the public. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if people are like, oh shit, Tatum's on. This is Tatum's team. Like I don't know.
Bro, this goes to show you how insane. See, I didn't deal with the Lonzo people. I didn't really, I didn't get to interact with them. But the amount of lust and just irrational thought that went into like the Brandon Ingram stan base, it really does Brandon a great disservice. Because people was telling me that Brandon Ingram was better than Jason Tatum. And I was like, he ain't as good as Jaylen Brown. And this before like NBA playoffs run Jaylen Brown. And it was a real discussion. Like it was a real thing. This is crazy.
This is a real thing. This was a real
Thanks
thing.
A lot, AD. No.
If it wasn't for his father saying he wasn't going to resign in Boston
for fucking Isaiah Thomas,
this was a real thing.
Isaiah Thomas ain't in the league right now. Shout out to Isaiah Thomas. He was a monster when he was in Boston, but still, look, man, we're gonna run Company Burger. When we get back, we're gonna get into some fan questions, man. Appreciate all y'all. Hit the like button, y'all. This is Chung's favorite commercial.
Company Burger is the official burger of Pro Pels Talk and Boot Crew Media. Located at 4600 Ferret Street, Company Burger has been locally owned and operated for 11 years. Grind the meat, bake the buns, make the mayo, get the homemade tots. Company Burger uses Creekstone Farms prime beef to create the best burger in the city with milkshakes to go and a full bar. Company Burger is open every day besides Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Can't make it out? No worries, we have you covered. You can order online right now at thecompanyburger.com or check them out on the Toast or Uber Eats app. Company Burger, the official burger of Boot Crew Media.
Man, Justin's definitely saying all them with a Q. Go ahead.
Before we move on, before we get to the fan question, I just want to ask this one question. Do you think they should explore trading that pick if it ends up as 1 or 2, or if it ends up as 2, do you think there would be teams that would be willing to listen to players that maybe we aren't thinking about?
I do,
because they're in weird tax situations, because they know they're not going to be good anyway. Maybe they're looking to reset timelines. Maybe they're looking to get rid of some. Yeah, go ahead.
If you get the number 2 pick, you could get LaMelo.
That's who.
That's who you're thinking about.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Oh yeah, if you get the number 2 pick, it's funny. It's funny you say that.
The other one that might sneak up on you is like, is Philly really saying no to like
Maxey,
CJ, and that pick for Maxey? They really saying no?
I think you could get Maxey, probably. I think you could definitely get LaMelo. I think Ant off limits. He off limits. Wemby's off limits. And then the list get kind of dry. I ain't gonna lie.
But I think there are teams. But it means that I think there are teams that they're going to listen. I think if you get the second pick and you're willing to talk, I think LaMelo could.
Who you think off limits 5 if they get the number 2 pick?
It's those two. Like this Luka trade really gave the organizations way more power than most people are even thinking about. Like it's gonna allow them to like, no, we'll just move off you. Like, no, it's too much money. It's too much of a headache. And
if you haven't sniffed like Dallas is different. Dallas went to the finals last year. Oh, Charlotte, you hadn't been out the lottery.
Yeah.
I don't think Cade. I know people saying Cade prospect. I don't think not Cade just because he's kind of fine. They finally and Trajan just got there. It wouldn't make a lot of sense. It would have to be a team that just keeps like it would have to be you got the number 2 pick and you calling for Zion. It would have to be a team that just keeps failing.
It's not working.
Yeah. So I think you get the number 2 pick and LaMelo available, and it's between LaMelo and Harper.
Because for me, for me, if I could start, we've been talking about all season, like, hey, if you're gonna lose, be exciting. Like, let's change the style about. If I enter next year with LaMelo, Trey, and Zion, like I'm excited. Like that, at least for me, I'm like, hey,
I'm going to games.
I'm going some games. Like
even if the team. Again, this is back to my point. Even if the team doesn't win,
it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be fun basketball. Even if you don't have a good coach, you Willie can still be there. Cool.
Yeah.
You're not listening to him.
To save money on the coach, though.
Yeah.
And one thing I think we know, but say Halliburton.
Ooh.
I think they would trade Halliburton for number 2. I think that's why I said
you gotta see what the playoffs look like.
Gotta see what the playoffs look like. But I don't know what happened with Halliburton hamstring, but he just never been the same. It's the weirdest shit ever, bro. But I'll say this. Teams that trade players with injury histories, when they get to their next stop, they ain't injured no more. At least for a while. Like when Brandon gets to the Raptors, he gonna be like, "Oh, I'm fine. I can play through anything."
He's playing 25 straight games.
Yeah, it's gonna be like this. It's gonna be some unheard of shit. And then, like, I think if LaMelo, because the disrespect is gonna make LaMelo say, "I gotta play," and I'm with Zion now. I'm in a new city. My brother played. It's gonna be like a thing. But hey, I'm with you. I think the conversation really starts. You get the number 2. I don't think you can get Tatum for number 2 though. I think it gotta be number 1.
That has to be number 1.
Yeah,
and like you can have number 1s in other drafts. It wouldn't get you Tatum. It's this draft specifically, that player specifically.
Yeah,
they want him in Boston.
This is crazy, man. Man, we just need luck to be a lady tonight. We're gonna get into some fan questions. Again, shout out to Be Supreme, new member. Appreciate you, bro. We got a membership show coming soon. Shout out to Desmond King. He said, I can understand CJ, but we don't move Green or Brown.
Hey, bro, you right.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. Like, I thought at minimum, shout out to Tulane. I thought
like Coach Summerall. That's with this hat on, bro.
Yeah, that's a real head coachy vibe here.
He makes more than me, but yeah, I mean,
Rob's like he broke a few clipboards in his day. Yeah,
my daughter's foul.
Nah, no, you know what? I haven't done that. I haven't broken any clipboards yet. but I feel like they're, I probably could have picked up a T or two this year that they didn't give me. But hey, fuck it. They don't call it. They don't
call the goddamn foul. Look,
Hey,
it's gonna be karma. Somebody gonna be in the stands saying, "This is a joke. Get this guy out of here. Who's that guy? This is a goddamn joke."
I start laughing.
It's gonna be really great.
Oh God, that would be crazy. I think not moving Javante was a huge miss, though, bro. You couldn't at least get a second for Javante, and they had rumored interest from Dallas, a couple other teams. I don't know, bro. You say y'all think Bruce Brown and Olynyk start day one? Ross.
No. I don't think Olynyk. I think they'll just continue to give Messi as much runway as possible.
Who you think
Bruce
starts at
Brown? CJ.
Did they get CJ?
Bruce Brown probably does start day one.
I mean,
Willie gonna. I mean, shit.
He's an upgrade over Javante.
Yeah, Willie celebrating. I think Bruce Brown probably does start. Olynyk's going to come off the bench. I don't want to spend too much time on it. I don't hate the Olynyk acquisition. Like it like from a pure basketball perspective.
Mm-hmm. I like it if they were competitive.
If they were competitive, that's the problem. Is that he makes too much. But if they were sitting like, I don't know, 4 games over 500 or something, and they had just acquired Olynyk, I'd be like, hey, I kind of want, let's see if he can bolster.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would like if they're competitive. What you think, Five?
This
think Olynyk start over Messi?
No, hell no. I hope not. Right? You wouldn't want he's learning really well. I think his game against Joker was better than the first game he had against Joker. He's learning. Okay, multiple times you're gonna see these people and he has an opportunity to get better. So no, don't interrupt his progress. I think Bruce Brown might get a start here and there, just depending on the roster or who's available. This deal would have looked a little bit better if this team was, better at basketball.
Yeah, I think Hawk going down probably like Bruce Brown might have to start out of necessity. That's really the reason I said. Are y'all worried that these two players possibly help you win a couple extra games?
I hope they understand the assignment at this point. Hey, bro.
That's my biggest fear. Is that a couple of these 2-point game
I know what you mean.
Some of these 3-point losses, 2-point losses, 5-point I'm really worried about that, man, because the margins are so tight right now at the end, right? Because we're tied with 3 or 4 teams with 12 wins.
We're tied with 2 other teams. But we got 3 more wins than
there's
3 more losses than Charlotte and 2 more losses than Utah.
So there's 3 of us with
3 total with 12 wins.
And then the Wizards have 9 or 10 or something?
9.
Yeah. So it's and then maybe somebody has 30. Does somebody have 13?
No, the next closest is Toronto with 16, and they just traded
All right.
They just traded for All-Star Brandon Ingram.
So it seems like there's clearly a haves and have-nots at this point.
Yeah, I think
they're acquiring All-Stars out there.
I think the Raptors going for that 10 seed, honestly, because ATL.
I think they can get it.
I think they can get it too, because Bulls and ATL gonna fall off.
Quickly just came back. He just played his second game. They're getting healthier, and they just won 5 of 7 before they acquired him or something. I don't know, man. That Raptors team is I don't know. I'm curious what Brandon does because
gonna be interesting. Well. Shout out to SP. He's a Raptors fan. He say the Raptors pulled off a heist in the middle of the night, and the NBA doesn't even understand what happened. Okay, you know what this reminds me of? Remember on Dumb and Dumber when Jim Carrey was like,
"Hang on, Chaz."
Yeah, that's ridiculous. It's just that's the untrained eye that says something like that.
Yeah. That reminds me of on Dumb and Dumber when it is at the diner. And he's like, is that guy over there Seabass? And dude's like, yeah, I'm Seabass. And he was in the car and he was like, man, we got off scot-free. And he said, you tricked somebody into paying for other dude's food? He said, no, they chased him down and cut his throat.
Yeah, the movie they catch up with him half down the road. And
it was a great one. It was a good one.
It was a good one.
SP, you don't know what y'all got yourselves into. But I hope it work out for you, dog. Shout out to ZN25, new member. Appreciate you, bro. Again, y'all hit that join button. We got some new episodes dropping soon. JH15, he said, honestly, Boo Crew, we know this already. You guys do this talking, but tell us the solution. What do players want? Well, what players do you want? What trades do you think we need to make happen this offseason? What coach do we need to hire? Well, JH15, if we had any power, it would matter. But we just, fuck, it's a YouTube show / podcast. We just giving our opinion. I want Chris Quinn. I want them to acquire Devin Booker. And ideally, I want them to trade for some depth and more shooting. But is that going to happen?
No.
Who fucking knows? Probably not. Anybody? 5? Any of y'all?
I want Borrego to be the head coach.
Okay.
I want them to. I told you it's going to involve Luck. I'm hoping for Luck, Cooper Flagg, and then I'm trading anything other than Zion, Trey, and Cooper Flagg to get the best guard available on the market. That's you want to know what I want to do? That's what I want to do. There you go.
Yeah, I just want a good basketball team. Tired of looking at the same thing. You want some absolutes, options? Well, yeah, they just gave you 2 of them. Somewhere in the middle, mixed between those. And also a plan that looks like something where, hey, we're going to be good in 5 years, and this is how we're going to get there.
Yep.
That's all I want to see.
Damn, Murray getting hurt fucked up a lot, man. I want to ask y'all that. Oh, we got time. I'll get into maybe another show. Brandon Williams said, if we get a top 3 pick, should we start over or try to repeat trying to win again? I think they're going to try to win no matter what, especially if you get a top 3 pick. But that kind of gives you a bridge to what you can do next, especially if like that player is good. Like if Houston, they got a team they can roll with for like 10 years because they got so many young guys. If with the Pelicans, you really only got Trey and Messi to a lesser degree as a real prospect. What do you guys think?
Get a top 3 pick. Yeah, you need to win. I think you just need to have a plan when just moving forward, right? Like just if you get a top 3, let's say you get 1 and you draft Cooper, try to win, but win at your own pace. Don't try to say you're going to go to the playoffs in year 1. Probably not likely. Don't put that pressure on yourself. Say you're trying to be sustainable, but use a different verb, a different word, different noun. So that's what I would want to see from this team.
Hey, Houston, I think is a very good example, right? Of last year. I think they went this year, but last year I think they were a game over 500, maybe something right at 5, whatever it was. They won 42, 43 games or whatever it is. But there was clearly a building block of like a couple of veterans. They had already brought in Fred. They had already brought in Dylan. They had already done some of those things, but you combined them with these players, right? And you had the right coach in place. Like it doesn't always have to. We talk about winning a lot. Like it doesn't always have to be like win tomorrow.
Right.
It needs to be there needs to be a clear path to winning, right? And that might be a year, that might be 3 years. But when you got Trey playing like this and you got Zion on the roster, I'm trying to win some games next year.
Yeah.
I'm trying to win more than 12 fucking games.
You got too many contracts to be bad. Like next year.
Like you got CJ McCollum on the roster. You got DeJounte Murray on the roster. Like these dudes are damn near 30 years old. Like what the hell are we talking about? Yeah, I'm trying to win.
Shout out to Quincy Harvey. Say, how confident are y'all in this organization before Zion's contract is up? I put not very much at all.
Yeah.
I think we all just, not very much. Terry Marshall, we got the last question here. He said, how good do you think Cooper Flagg will be comparisons? I think he could be good as Paolo. I think he'd be as good as Paolo. I think all Duke forwards are about the same, honestly. For example, I don't think Zion's even at his best is significantly better than Paolo. I think Paolo's very good. I don't think Brandon at his best is as good as Paolo, but I don't say Paolo's like light years better than him neither. I think they I think Cooper Flagg could be like Paolo though.
I'm serious. I really do think Cooper's going to be like a 2-time All-Star, right? Mr. I can do it all type player. I don't see him being though. Some people like said like KD, KG or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
As in Kevin Garnett?
yeah.
How
So
the fuck did I don't see that at all.
see what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, bro, it's not even the same bag. It's not the same. It's not even close. So, I really say I don't know if there's an actual person that I can compare him to.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be like a 2-time All-Star, be able to maybe Andre Kirilenko, somewhere in there, right? Guard multiple positions, can get a shot off. But nah, man, that's kind of what I see.
Who you see, Ross?
I mean, look, if you convinced me, and I don't know anything about him other than his age, like if you convince me who's gonna get to 6'11",
How tall is he now? I think he's like 6'9", right?
yeah, like so 6'9" as a 17-year-old. Like if you convinced me that he was gonna get to 6'11", or there was like more upside there, right? Like we can talk Giannis. But that's different. Like, because you got to look at Giannis when he came into the NBA, though. Like he came
Before
to
he
the
started
NBA
running point. Yeah.
when he was like just a skinny guy that like kind of looked awkward dribbling and stuff. Like, if not that, right? And I'm talking upside, right? I mean, if you want
talking best case scenario.
yeah, like could he be Scottie Pippen ish type player? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not gonna sit here and say that. Like, I mean, look, Giannis is gonna go down as like an all timer, right? Like Kevin Garnett is a 15-time All-Star or something. It sounds foolish. It sounds the same way as old boy earlier saying, is he Larry Bird or Magic Johnson? Like, he's probably neither of those things. But is there could I see him making more than 2 All-Star teams? Yeah, I could. Yeah. I could. Like it. I mean, I could. But I don't know exactly what that looks like. I do think it could look something like a Giannis light, though, in terms of a style of play. Mm-hmm. It could look something like a slashing version of Scottie Pippen without like being the best defender of all time. Like it could look similar to that.
That's why I said Andre Kirilenko. Like, again,
yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, like it's somewhere in the middle. It's hard.
I just feel like he has more game. I feel like he has more game than
like,
Kirilenko. That's all it is. Like
it's hard to. I'm just saying that more so like accolades.
Yeah. Like yeah, it's hard to know. I mean, I'm with you.
It's hard to know. It really is. I don't want to just gauge it to a point where he's this all timer.
Yeah. But this goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, just look at the players we're talking. Like, if the floor is Kirilenko, if that's the floor,
yeah,
that's a damn good player. Though. Like, that's like I feel very, very confident if somebody's like, hey, yeah, look, the floor, the worst player you're getting, especially with this era of kids, because that's what they are. They're kids, dog. It's like a lot of them don't know how to play. A lot of them don't have high IQ. Like I'm talking about basketball IQ. You know, I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of upside. I just think the floor is so high, and I think I think his style of play in terms of being a connector and like doing some of the things he could do could be really interesting next to Trey and Zion.
Yeah.
Right. And we got Lothario Jr. as a new member. Appreciate you, bro. That's been today's show, man. Please be sure to like, comment. Somebody says Kirilenko available. Probably I don't know what Kirilenko's up to. Kirilenko, did he just retire unceremoniously too? I think he went to the Nets and just I don't want to play no more.
Yeah, I got a funny Kirilenko story. I'll tell you another time.
Y'all be cool, man. Please should like, comment, subscribe, share the live, share the stream, hit that join button. Shout out to Theo's, John Deere, DraftKings, Sunshine Standard Mortgage, 4D Energy. We out. Peace.